Can be done in your case if you wish. Student. I don't mind being struck by the others. To test my reaction, I signaled one of the other monitors to strike me. When he did, I had no adverse reaction such as I had with this particular person. In fact, I found it easy to raise my hands palm to palm. But it was quite different with the other man. Roshi. Of course the monitors should take care to hit only the soft part of the shoulder, not the bone. This being summer, they should not hit too hard, because everyone is wearing light clothing. As a matter of fact, when we had new sticks made yesterday, they were purposely made out of soft wood so that they would not hurt. But of course one can be struck too hard. Student. I don't know, but that my reaction might not be a kind of mako. Naturally I will do whatever you suggest, but I thought I ought to tell you about it. Roshi. The important thing is not to make a problem of it. Student. I am practicing as you have instructed me. I have no questions. I came because this is my last Dakyuzen and I want to thank you for your kindness. Roshi. Even though you have no questions to ask, it is well to come to Dakyuzen, for this reason. There is a tendency to become lax sitting by yourself. Coming before me tightens up your practice so that you can resume it with greater energy and determination. 6. Student F. Woman, age 45. Student. When I come here before you I get a tight feeling all over. I wonder what's wrong. Roshi. This is a matter of mind. Don't think or worry about yourself during Zazen. Just practice with a calm, deeply concentrated mind, free from strain. Then your tightness will disappear and you will feel relaxed. Are you able to do shikantaza well? Student. No, not well at all. Roshi. In that case you should go back to the exercise of following the breath until you are able to do it well, after which you may return to shikantaza. Student. I tried to, but it was too painful. I felt considerable pain in my chest when I did that. You see, for years I have had trouble with my breathing. Roshi. Resume counting the breath then. Can you do that easily? Student. Yes, I think so. Roshi. When you can concentrate on that exercise without pain or discomfort, try the exercise of following or experiencing the breath. After you have mastered that, return to shikantaza. Student. Would you please tell me again how to count the breath? And how to follow the breath? Roshi. There are various ways to count the breath, as I have previously explained, but the best way is this. On the first exhalation count silently to yourself 1, on the second exhalation, 2, and so on, up to 10. Then go back to 1 and again count up to 10. Whenever you lose track of the count, go back to 1 and start again. Following the breath is done this way. With the mind's eye you try to visualize the incoming breath, that is, to become one with it, and then you do the same with the exhaled breath. That is all there is to it. Student. Last night you told everybody. When you go to bed continue to count your breath, those of you who are counting your breath, and thus the counting will go on in your subconscious mind. However, I find that I rather naturally forget the counting when my breathing is rhythmic, and when it is not rhythmic I have to count my breath in order to bring it into harmonious rhythm again. Should I continue the counting even when it is more natural for me to stop it? Roshi. Continue the counting when you go to bed and you will fall asleep naturally. But counting the breath is not a natural state of mind. It is only the first step toward concentrating the mind. The next step is following the breath, that is, trying to see each inhalation and each exhalation clearly. This is more difficult, because you don't have the counting itself to fall back on when your mind begins to wander. The idea is to unify your mind through progressive steps of concentration until you reach the point where you can practice shikantaza. Which, as you know, involves neither counting the breath nor following it. It is the purest form of Zazen. And the breathing is natural. But Shikantaza is also the most difficult Zazen, since you have no crutches to lean on. When your practice has matured and your concentration is fairly strong, you can begin it. If you carefully notice the pictures of the Buddha in the Nirvana posture, you will see that he is resting on his right side, with his hand under his head, the limbs of his body together. This is the best position in which to sleep. The point is, in going to bed you should not lie down with a sigh of relief, exclaiming, "Oh, I'm glad the day is over, now I can forget all about Zazen." This is a wrong attitude. To answer your question directly, you needn't continue the counting if you can concentrate your mind without it. Student. I am afraid I didn't make myself clear. What I mean is this. When my breathing becomes rhythmic I forget to count. Is it all right not to? Roshi. Yes. Similarly, experience your breath only as long as you need to. After that do pure Zazen. This involves neither counting the breath nor following it but just breathing naturally. 7. Student G. Man, age 25. Student. What is the relation between Zazen and the precepts? I would like to understand that better. Roshi. Regardless of the sect, Buddhist teaching and practice have 3 basic features. They are kai, or precepts, jo, or Zazen, and e, or Satori-wisdom. In the Bommo Sutra the relation between the 3 is explained. The precepts are likened to the foundation of a house. If one lives improperly, thereby creating unrest and disturbance in oneself and others, the foundation of one's effort at spiritual realization is undermined. Zazen is the living space, the rooms. It is the place where one finds one's repose. Satori-wisdom is comparable to the furnishings. The 3 are interrelated. In Zazen one naturally observes the precepts, and through Zazen comes to Satori-wisdom. Thus all aspects of Buddhism are embraced within these 3. Student. I was doing Shikantaza before I came here. At least I think it was that. Would you please tell me what Shikantaza is? Roshi. If you come to the next session and hear all the general lectures, you will learn about Shikantaza in detail. I will tell you a little about it now. Shikantaza is the purest kind of Zazen, the practice emphasized by the Soto sect of Zen. Counting the breath and following the breath are expedient devices. A person who can't walk well requires support and all these other methods are such supports. But eventually you must dispense with them and just walk. Shikantaza is Zazen in which your mind, intensely involved in just sitting, has nothing to lean on. Therefore it is a very difficult practice. In counting or experiencing the breath with the mind's eye, you soon know it if you are not doing them properly, but in Shikantaza it is easy to become lax as you have no gauges by which to check yourself. How you sit in Shikantaza is of vital importance. The back must be absolutely straight, the body taut but not tense. The center of gravity should be in the region just below the navel. If you can, sit with your legs crossed in the full or half lotus posture and you will have absolute stability and equilibrium as well as the dignity and grandeur of a Buddha. Student. How can one realize one's self-nature? I know so little about the subject. Roshi. First of all you must be convinced you can do so. The conviction creates determination, and the determination, zeal. But if you lack this conviction to start with, if you think, maybe I can get it, maybe I can't, or what is even worse, this is beyond me, you won't awaken to your true nature no matter how often you come to sesshin or how long you practice Zazen. Student. What is the difference between Koan Zazen and Shikantaza? Roshi. Koan Zazen has 2 aims. Awakening and the actualization of it in your daily life. Koans are like candy used to coax a reluctant child. With Shikantaza, on the other hand, you must practice for 5, 10, or even more years alone, because you receive no such encouragement. In shikantaza you sit with the conviction that your essential nature is no different from the Buddha's, so there is no purposeful striving for kensho. Still, you must believe that your sitting will one day eventuate in awakening. In koan Zazen, with enlightenment you realize that Zazen, when correctly practiced, is the actualization of the Buddha nature, and in this respect it ends where shikantaza does. That is, when shikantaza culminates in enlightenment. Particularly in shikantaza your concentration must be absolutely single-minded. Your mind, like that of a person aiming a gun, must be sharply focused, without a random thought intervening. The slightest deflection would be fatal. Student. Earlier you said that shikantaza involves correct concentration and proper sitting posture. So does yoga. Is there no difference, then? Roshi. I don't know much about yoga. I understand that the aim of yoga as it is generally practiced these days is the cultivation of physical and mental health or the attainment of a long life, and that there are various postures which will accomplish these ends. Higher forms of yoga no doubt involve enlightenment of one kind or another, but this enlightenment necessarily is different from Buddhist enlightenment. The difference essentially is in the aim. In shikantaza you are not self-consciously striving for Satori. Rather you are practicing Zazen in the unswerving faith that your Zazen is the actualization of your intrinsically undefiled mind. And that one day you will directly perceive the nature of this Buddha mind. Roshi. Are you able to count your breath well? Student. I can do it, but I don't know how well. What do you mean by well? Roshi. Doing it well means having a clear and distinct impression of each number as you count it. It also means not losing the count. Student. I can do it without losing count, but it is not always clear. Roshi. It is hard at first, since the tendency is to do it mechanically. You must absorb yourself completely in the counting. I know a man who teaches the abacus, which, as you know, is a calculating device. He is an expert at it, yet he finds it difficult to count his breath well. If you apply yourself with energy and devotion to this exercise, gradually you will be able to do it with ease. Student. I am counting my breath. Roshi. Are you able to count with clarity and precision? Student. No, I am not. I want to ask you whether I can count my breath and do shikantaza at the same time. Roshi. No, you cannot. You can count your breath for half the period of your sitting and do shikantaza the other half, but you can't do them simultaneously. Student. I have been trying to do just that. Unsuccessfully, I might add. I also tried counting my breath only, but was unable to do even that. Roshi. You must not count absent-mindedly, as though in a daze. You must pour your whole heart into it. You must experience each number clearly and sharply. Did you lose count sometimes? Student. Yes, sir. Perhaps my trouble is that I don't see the connection between counting the breath and Buddhism. Roshi. The purpose in counting the breath is to still the ceaseless waves of thought set in motion by habits of thinking that have persisted for a long time. With their quieting, the mind becomes one-pointed and we can then directly perceive our essential nature. Counting the breath is a necessary first step. Another method is to keep questioning what is my true nature? Or where is my true nature? But unless you have the firm conviction that you can discover your true nature in this wise, your practice will degenerate into a mere mechanical repetition and your effort will be wasted. You said you could not see the connection between counting the breath and Buddhism. The Buddha taught that only by direct apprehension of our self-nature can we actually know who and what we are. The fundamental purity and clarity of the mind is obscured by the ceaseless waves of thought which pitch and toss about in it. Consequently we falsely see ourselves as individual existences confronted by a universe of multiplicities. Zazen is a means of stilling these waves so that our inner vision can be brought into accurate focus, and counting the breath is one type of Zazen. Student. You have said that I should put more energy into my sitting. I have tried to, but I can't concentrate for more than 15 minutes before my mind begins to wander. Toward the end of the last session I was able to concentrate fairly well, but when I sat by myself I fell apart and couldn't for the life of me concentrate. Roshi, it is difficult to sit alone, especially in the beginning, that is why we have sesshin.